Hello, and welcome to the Zulu's RPG stream. It's Tuesday. Hopefully you survived the heat from yesterday. So I'm making sure my other computer won't start yelling at me. It doesn't. It's starting to cool off, which is very exciting. Say again?
I don't know if your computer survived the heat.
It did, but just barely. So let's see. Sorry, I'm doing things and all kinds of stuff. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Rob. I'm excited to I'm excited to be talking about what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing a lot better than I was yesterday. That's for sure.
It was a little nightmarish. Nightmarish yesterday. Ironically, I am actually wearing now a melty popsicle skull thing. But anyway, that's not the point. What we're here for today, Jason, you came with this idea, and I was very excited for it. We're going to be making D&D pop culture characters with D&D stat blocks.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Not necessarily. I mean, depending on the character you guys get, because I have a randomizer, of course, dice, because you always have to have the perfect randomizers, yes. It's a couple table. It's a table, but we might decide we're going to have to decide whether this would be a good villainous character, a heroic character, a character you play. Also, how we make him as a villain is a lot different than making a player character, depending on the character we pull. But also, how we would maybe make them fit into a D&D world, right?
Yes.
And maybe even not going for the obvious ones, because a couple of them could be pretty obvious. You just kind of write them off, but we can do better. That's the gist. My table isn't pretty, so I'm not going to be showing it. It's functional, but it's not pretty.
Well, let's go ahead and just dive right in then.
Yeah. Alex, can you roll an 8-sided dice for me? And now, I broke it into 8 different kind of groups. So, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that one. You got it. All right, I rolled a 4.
All right, we're looking at the Avengers. So go ahead and roll a D6.
The whole Avengers?
From the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would have been an infinite list if it was from the comics, because it's every character and current Avengers. Oof.
Just every Avenger ever. All right, here we go. D6. I rolled a 3. Man, really middle of the road for both dice.
Yeah, we got Bruce Banner, the Hulk. That's a tricky one, because either we can look at it as 2 separate characters, and how would we? I mean, the obvious one I could kind of look at is Barbarian.
That's the easy one.
That's the easy one. But, because you can have a kind of a nebbishy character that, hulks out. But there's also the line in the, you also could, we can kind of look at the whole pantheon of movies and comics. And you could also do one where the brain is you have Professor Hulk. So that's another way we could kind of look at it.
So I'm going to go ahead and throw this thing that Ragnarok Hulk does throw a monkey wrench in this, but maybe not. I'm going to go ahead and throw out my pick for class as Monk. Because conventionally, Hulk uses his sort of bare fists as his only fighting tool. And I think really focusing on the fact that he is just a melee brawler, I think would really sort of bring out his sort of the essence of Hulk.
Yeah, so here's my issue with that, because I had this idea, a weird play around concept, which was Monster Manuel, the Masked Avenger. This was the idea of a luchador. And I was like, what do you, but he was Masked Manuel, he was Monster Manuel. Manuel. Horrible pun. But the idea is, so that the problem with monks is they're mainly a bunch of attacks, not one solid one or a lot of grappling. Now, in Tasha's, the fighter has a new fighting style. So I'm going to go ahead and let me see here. Pull it up so I can talk. I want to say it's pugilist, but I could be wrong.
Also, I'm going to be honest, I love that word. Pugilist is just a delightful word to say and hear spoken. I don't know why, but I like it.
All right.
It's a very interesting concept.
All right. So it's unarmed fighting.
Pugilist or the word?
So when you take this particular feat, it is, or not feat, but fighting style. Your unarmed strikes deal bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier in a hit. If you aren't wielding any weapons or a shield when you make the attack roll, the d6 becomes a d8. and you can also deal 1d4 bludgeoning damage to one creature grappled by you at the start of your turn. Now that's pure force, and so I think at least my gut feeling is you a champion unarmed fighting fighter is that with the extra crits.
Now, hear me out. As much as I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the champion, and whenever possible, I will try to find something else. And I will, ironically, will always champion the Battle Master. Hear me out. So the Battle Master I like for a lot of reasons, because Hulk isn't just about punching things. Sure, he's about punching things, but you want to really be able to grab that essence of like a really good grappler. The fact that he can scream at people and make them afraid. The fact that that he can like knock people down. Like Hulk is all about just sheer brutal force. Also, with superiority die, you're going to be adding that extra damage to it. Heck, I would be perfectly fine as a DM if they wanted to say that every time they use their superiority die, they would grow somewhat, get a little green, because most of the time you're just adding to the damage and then you do something else. So I think for me, my money's on Battle Master. If we're doing a fighter, the Battle Master is the one that I would go with, just because a little bit of a reskin of those things, you can do some really fun stuff.
Yeah, I was also thinking if he was a half orc, he then gets an extra die of damage when he crits, and you're more likely to crit with a champion. And champion is rather dull. It is the most dull of the fighting classes because it kind of goes down the line. You just get a couple things.
You just smack them hard. Yeah, you got to smack them hard.
It kind of covers everything. And as a reminder, you get a remarkable athlete too, so you get extra jumping, which is right there with Hulk.
Jump from like.
You also get additional fighting styles, which that one might be defense or something, depending on how you do it. And that's if you're doing Hulk as a standard. I think Ragnarok Hulk is way more likely to be a battle master. He's a little more like I'm thinking more like Hulk in the Avengers, where he's literally just a force of nature.
Hulk smash.
Yeah. And even in that regard, I think you're looking at more of a monster. Or some kind of maybe even a magical item or potion that you could kind of mess around with in the game. That's
Enlarge
more than we're talking about.
Enlarge is a classic. It doesn't do a lot necessarily, but I mean, adding an extra D4 damage and increasing your size category to a large size creature, that definitely comes with its own benefits. Yeah. I feel it'd be remiss of me not to also mention. I mean, there is. Is there a reason we don't like the idea of going with a barbarian? I know it's a little trite, but at the same time,
actually, I do have a thing to say about this. I actually did have a player where he just made a character, and he actually built a barbarian that was very battle oriented, and he was like, I kind of want to go for the Bruce Banner style, so. Out of combat, he was actually just playing as this super like kind of lanky, really awkward dude where he's just like, I don't know, I think that this is okay. I think we can do this. But then as soon as the battle started, his alter ego popped out and he just went ham on people.
Yeah, I think that is definitely in the running.
Also, I'm going to throw this out here. Sorry, what were you going to say, Jason? I keep interrupting you.
Well, I was saying, we can go nuts and go multi-classing, but I say we stick to the
single class for simplicity's sake.
Yeah, single class for now.
One requires. Have you guys looked at Path of the Beast?
Ooh,
because Path of the Beast, you get level 3, you get claws, so now you're doing punching damage.
Yeah. You do claws, tail, or bite.
Yeah, I don't see Hulk biting or tailing people.
I think you'd have to reskin it a lot.
But the fact that you have that option of using your fisticuffs is great. Plus, at level 6, you've got your jumping one. When you jump, you can make an strength athletics check and extend your jump by a number of feet equal to the check's total. Good gravy. You can make this special check only once per turn, which makes a sort of sense. So. Oh, Infectious Fury? That's great. I don't even know what that does. Anyway, so yeah, I like the bestial form because it gets that whole, like, when he hulks out, he can punch things and hurt them.
So yeah, I think, you can go either way. There's a lot of ways to do it. The only other thing, like, I do lean towards looking at that barbarian thing because one of the biggest things about Hulk, like Thor Ragnarok Hulk, he's just Hulk. You know, and like, so I would say like the Barbarian, I think maybe you're right. Like we looking at, like, you almost have three different versions of Hulk. You have three kind of, in the Marvel movies, you kind of have the Incredible Hulk movie, which is kind of forgotten.
We'll say Avengers Hulk. Avengers Hulk.
Well, they're starting to bring stuff back. That Shang-Chi trailer had the Abomination in it. So
that was so dope at the end. Oh yeah, sorry. Spoiler alert for a trailer?
Yeah. But anyways, so there was the Incredible Hulk / Avengers Hulk. It was much more, like just jumping from building to building, destroying things. I think we're looking there at like either the fighter, or the barbarian rather.
Because he's transforming between the two.
Yeah, and kind of it's just a constant just fury. But then you have the Ragnarok Hulk, who's much more likely to be a battle master. He's a little bit more thoughtful. He's fighting with weapons.
Yes.
Even wearing a little bit of armor. In fact, in the Zulu's campaign that I was running, one of the employees, he was playing a character that was based off of Thor Ragnarok Hulk, and he was a battle master, half orc fighter. So
good old Claw.
Yeah, Claw. Yeah, he let me pick the name, and I actually wrote, I put an extra U in there and spelled Hulk backwards.
Claw. It's great. It's glorious because he was also a gladiator.
And then lastly, we have Professor Hulk from Endgame. So that would be the trickiest one. Do we just go with a really strong artificer?
A really strong, giant, beefy artificer.
So the problem with artificer, though, is so much of what they're doing is they fight with their robots and their armor. Yeah. Whereas while Professor Hulk was good at doing things, he also wasn't like he didn't have extra gadgets and toys. Yeah. He just was a bit beefier. I think that one honestly is as simple as making him a Goliath or an orc. And then honestly at that point you could basically do kind of whatever class you wanted.
Did we see Professor Hulk in the movies at least like really do any fighting? I know
he does at the end.
What?
He does at the end. I mean, it's mainly it's not as aggressive a fight, he's kind of more
thoughtful in his combat. I would actually argue that might be our monk Hulk. Someone's a little bit more tactical, a little bit more kind of understanding of his stuff. He still has martial prowess, but he's going to be a little bit more sort of thoughtful in how he participates in this combat.
He would also have a higher wisdom score, so he could have a higher wisdom save when he's getting ready to snap everybody back into existence.
Spoilers for that might have been a con save, Fried Tony. All right. Anything else about Hulk we want to throw out there?
Let me throw this one out here. Continue with that idea of him having like these hands.
These hands.
I feel like sometimes it falls kind of by the wayside, but Leonin might not be a bad one to do a little reskinning. Shave the Leonin because it's got a +2 in Constitution, +1 in Strength. It's got Dark Vision, Claws, Hunter's Instincts, and Daunting Roar built into the race, which is, I think, a lot of fun. Goliath, obviously, is an easy fit. Orc, obviously, an easy one. But that would be my something sort of...
Big. Yeah, we want something big and something beefy, because he's big and beefy.
Yeah, I think Goliath is probably...
There's also good old-fashioned Minotaur. +2 Strength, +1 Con. He's got horns, which is a little hard to reconcile. Goring Rush, but that's kind of fun because you could, kind of a charging punch, hammering horns, and imposing presence. Sorry.
Go ahead, Jason.
Other things to consider, though, is you don't have to completely be Hulk. You can look at one and be like, the essence of Hulk is there, like that idea. Okay. Like taking a Minotaur, you then kind of shift it more into your own character. If you're playing as a player character, it's always great to kind of have that I really like the Hulk, but not being the Hulk. So okay. I choose Minotaur or hell an elf if you really want to go for something weird, or a halfling. But
I mean, the halfling one would be hilarious. Just the idea that everything in the fantasy realm is just a factor taller. And it's normal size Hulk in the real world. Just he went to the fantasy realm and everyone's huge.
That's awesome. Actually.
Hulk smash
weird,
ankles.
weird concepts for 5,000.
I like that idea. Oh man,
All
I
right.
think I got the next big bad guy.
Yeah.
Playing in the wrong world.
Rob, do you have
Yes.
dice when you're there?
Yes. Give me
All
a
right,
sec.
why don't you roll D8 and we'll do the next pop culture idea.
Yeah. We got a 6.
All right. A 6 is Star Wars.
Ooh. I've actually already done this one.
Roll a D10 for which character?
Dang it. I was saying I made Han Solo once because one of the things a lot of times, especially with new players, is I'm like don't try to think of what fantasy just give me any pop culture character and I will make you the equivalent. Is 9 our boy Han Solo, or are we doing something else?
No, that is actually Kylo Ren.
Oh,
First
Oh,
instinct,
boy.
first thing pops in my head, he has gone Warlock.
Yeah,
Back to the blade.
Kinda,
It's my first thought.
or even like, oh,
you do like
Callister isn't a great one, but I do like the idea of that helmet being a talisman of some sort or something like that. I mean, you have to tweak with it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, or
Oh, so
even-
yeah, he has his sort of his magical blade, but it's the helmet that really is one of the sort of focuses of
yeah,
magic.
I mean, it could also be that like it's the idea that Vader's old helmet is kind of his connection to the dark side.
Yeah. Also, I like the idea of Warlock because it also means that he has powerful magic, but limited powerful magic.
He has to rely on his blade, and I think he was decent at his blade, or he was decent at swinging the lightsaber.
But okay, so here's another weird one: is the fact that he is a very angry fighter. Like he is like all passion. So
Are we looking for like another barbarian sort of rager? But like,
it's possible. What about a split class?
right? Well, I think that we can start going a little bit into the.
Outrun's a unique beast here.
Okay.
Let me see.
Oh! We could do Undying for his patron.
Or Ancestral Guardian, although it doesn't really call on them.
Well, because he never got to call. Well, he didn't really get to call on people from the Force.
Yeah.
He just kind of.
I mean, obviously, emulating the Force abilities, that's why Warlock would have to be there.
Because he's a space
or
wizard.
something like that. I mean, Sorcerer is possible too, although I can't really think of a subclass that
would be appropriate.
Really fits.
Oh, and I feel like Warlock is also so very important because so much of what Kylo Ren is like being given things and being sort of tied to this sort of other idea. As it's like, yeah, he's sort of just bound to this other concept. Ooh, we got that Kylo Ren. Hey, let me.
I got.
You didn't tell me you were gonna switch.
Yeah, sorry. I hit the button on accident. I was getting it.
Switching up on us.
Him? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So Kylo Ren. I totally forgot to do this on Hulk, but so I mean, you obviously have the villain. He kind of, but he has that element. I mean, he makes a good bad guy, of course. I do like the idea of tying the villain in with the hero. So if we're looking at him as like a character that is opposed to the group, not an NPC rather than a player character. I mean, it can go either way. I think at a certain point he's a branching character, and so he could go like but what would you make him different if you're making him a villain, or would he be basically the same character?
I would probably go for something that's like close to like Warlock key powers because or he's got to be tied to another player, right? So maybe he's not even necessarily like a class, but just a bunch of stats.
I was gonna say.
Vengeance Paladin.
Sorry,
What about Vengeance Paladin?
Oh.
I'm just,
Right?
Okay. A paladin, I don't
passionate.
think is a bad plan.
And
Because you get that little bit of
paladin-
magic, but you also you're much more martially inclined.
Yeah, and like things like the smite, that slamming him with the sword.
Yeah.
And divine sense, you can also like just sense out into the Force.
Oh man,
Don't
yeah.
detect. Where is Ray?
Mm-hmm. And if you mix it with Warlock, you're doing
Oh.
multi-class. I think it's a weird little mix, but I think that's interesting. Now,
they're both charisma based, dude. We are power gaming Kylo Ren to be a paladin warlock of total destruction. Paladin warlock just going to literally.
And you
destroy
said
the
conquest, right? Or you said vengeance or
No.
conquest?
Vengeance was the one that appeared to me. It occurred to me first. I was like looking at the picture, and I was like, the sword, and I'm like, that's like almost a great sword there. And I jumped to
conquest. Paladin spells at 3rd level. Armor bag of fist. Command. 5th level. Hold person. Spiritual weapon.
Ooh.
Throw lightsaber. Grab people with the force. I'm gonna be honest. I'm personally leaning more towards conquest.
Does fit his MO. I mean, there's vengeance. There's the whole going after his family thing.
But conquering presence, guided strike.
Using the force to guide your strikes.
Exactly. Use the force. No, not like that. Oh, what a jerk. Sorry. You're welcome for that.
Yeah, and it would be kind of interesting. You could even, like, if you're doing a 1st level character, the idea of starting out as that early Kylo Ren with like kind of the backstory would be kind of fun too.
Yeah.
If you're creating a character for a new campaign, that's kind of looking at how you would play it as a player character. You may go I kind of want to go worse. I'm going to kind of become. I'm leaning towards the dark side, and I mean, you could.
There is the Paladin of Redemption. That is literally one of the Oath of Redemption.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we got it. I mean, that's a lot. It sounds a lot of fun actually. I kind of look around, but the more I talked about it, it should be a lot of fun.
It's an interesting character concept.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
Usually the villains are kind of they just become villains. So But all right, I think we've got a good grasp on Mr. Ren. If you want to switch us back to
my gosh, he's also part of the Knights of Ren. So then he's a paladin, which is a knight. So oh my gosh, it makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
he's a paladin. Sorry guys, declare.
It's been decided.
It has been decided. He is the paladin.
All right, Alex, you want to roll again?
Sure thing. All right, so I'm rolling a D8.
You are.
Here we go. Ah. Ooh, that's a 5.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
They're a whole separate category. All right.
Sorry, I just have to mention this because I've been enjoying the heck out of him. The Marvel Champions, Guardians of the Galaxy, top notch. Plus, there's the whole campaign to go with it. Sorry.
Oh.
All right. Sweet.
All right, a D8 again.
Segues for 500? Or strange segues, rather.
All right, I've got a 6.
6 is Nebula. We're going with the semi-villainous ones here.
Ooh, okay, all right.
I like this. See, now is when I think we might turn to Artificer. Because part of her whole shtick is that she is a cyborg.
And there's the armor abilities and whatnot, where she's just filled up with her armor.
Yeah. I guess the question is, are we leaning more towards the cyborg aspect, or what were you thinking, Jason?
Oh, I was just thinking, I like the idea of her being kind of a split class, because you could also just go with the Eberron magic items that are prosthetics and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then make her a monk. She's been trained her entire life.
Okay.
Either a rogue assassin.
Okay.
She's kind of more angry than an assassin.
Yeah.
She kind of likes the whole thing of kind of drawing it out.
Yeah, she doesn't try to murder people on the first turn. She's gonna just bludgeon them to deaths.
Or blast them with a bunch of guns.
But yeah, guns?
So well, in the spaceship when she crashes into it in the second one, where she kind of goes out.
Oh, and then Gamora was carrying around the giant gun on her shoulder, and she's just blah 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 blah.
That's true. Yeah, I do like the monk idea for that one. What subclass of monk would we want?
Instinctually, I shadows, no, because it's really just controlling shadows.
Well, it's just shadows and teleportation, which isn't really her shtick.
Yeah.
You could do the so you could do the elements one, but like reskin it as her sort of cybernetic changes. Oh, there was also the other one that they did recently. Not open hand, long death, inside, long drunken master. Was it the Cobalt Soul? Astral Self. The Astral Self I remember being kind of an interesting one because you end up sort of having other sort of interesting kind of.
Oh, Rob, I'm going to throw up to the. I'm going to throw.
Okay.
So there we go.
Here we go.
That one, and then
But it is her, and also like she has that heroic change. It's not even that heroic. She just kind of makes friends.
The power of friendship. And as it
Well-
turned out, it was the friends that we made along
Yeah.
the way.
Friends have made along the way. Sounds like a song.
Yes.
Definitely, it should be.
It should be a song at this point.
I'm actually more thinking Toy Story. You got a friend, and then so.
Do 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 do.
All right, let me look at that. Okay, and then what race do you think would fit her?
I mean, if we're
Awesome.
continuing with the sort of cyborg thing, well, you do have good old-fashioned Warforged. That being said, she also does have a very sort of elven feel, almost, I want to say.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, half elven maybe, or even Drow. But Drow has all those.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, it does have a lot of the magics. Yeah, she's basically all martial all the time.
Yeah.
Does she do any sneaking at all?
A little. I mean, but she's kind of a tracker too. She was tracking
Oh, yeah.
some kind of.
I know she snuck onto onto Thanos' ship, but then she was discovered, right?
Yeah, she's not the best at it, but she tries.
She tries so hard.
I mean, she is the lesser chosen daughter.
Oh.
Ooh, what about? I'm kind of vaguely looking at. I was like, Kensei maybe, but
Oh, I like a Kensai. The Kensai is nice because it has that. It has the kind of weapon specialization, which I kind of feel like that's kind of one of her things. Is that she has those weapons at her disposal.
yeah. I mean, yeah, and with the Tasha's thing, there's the whole dedicated weapon thing, where as long as she kind of trains with it, she can make it her monk weapon. That could be interesting. Once again, could be either hero or villain. It's it's the same. I mean, this is a character that had an arc and kind of went to the lighter side. Although how light the Guardians really are.
I think they're just more of a
kind of selfish.
more the comedy pirates.
They're neutral good.
Let's say that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
No. It's a classic. I mean, you could easily reskin the Guardians as a pirate group for D&D.
Now, okay. Now, real quick. So you mentioned pirate. How do we feel about either Swashbuckler or it's not the Mastermind? I think the Swashbuckler is the one that gets its sneak attack if it's just the two of them duking it out, right?
Yeah, Inquisitive has the insight where they can kind of read the person.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's that good. It's like overcoming it with overwhelming force. Kind of her mistake is to constantly just throw herself.
Oh
at a
yeah,
problem.
that's true. She's not really.
Yeah. So that gets a little bit tricky. And
well, here's a question. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was thinking. Sorry, my mouth was moving, and I was thinking.
What about Barbarian? Like we've talked about a rage a couple times, and I know that a lot of times Barbarian looks like the big sort of angry hulked out thing. I mean, Barbarian might be a fun option for this because then you're playing around that sort of martial ability, but then you also have that thing where sometimes she'll just fly off the handle, and get some benefits for it.
I know there was one time that I tried working on a dex-based barbarian instead of a strength-based barbarian, just to get the unarmored strike or unarmored defense like to be a little bit higher because of dex. But yeah, you could definitely try working.
And I think she would definitely have like her physical stats. I think would be relatively even. Her strength, dex, and con I think are going to be pretty. They're not going to be obviously you can't make them the highest in the world, but like doing like a 15 15 15 15 15 8 8 8 for her stats would, I think, really make sense, because intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, absolutely dumb stats. Strength, dex, con, really where she's focusing her energies.
Yeah, throw in a couple magic items, like I said, like turning the cybernetic implants, like the idea that her foster father, kept trying to make her better by fusing magical items into her and making her more of a tool.
Ooh, here we go. Here's an interesting one. Rate the zealot for her barbarian.
Oh my god, dude, they are strong.
Yeah, and it does make sense. Being a zealot for the warlord that is her father, as kind of reading that as the what she's kind of focusing on.
Plus, the second ability for Warrior of the Gods is you're that much easier to resurrect, which again brings back that whole idea of her just being kind of a relentless force.
But also, like in Endgame, is it the beginning of Endgame, or I don't remember if it was Endgame? They fused together now, bits of them. Endgame, Infinity War. But Thanos has her like kind of in suspended animation-ish, kind of torturing her, but rebuilding her. And that's kind of that, like it's resurrection.
Yeah,
you can just read that as that kind of thing, just that you've died in battle so many times, you're always risen back up to fight for me again.
Yeah. Honestly, I my vote now is completely barbarian for like all in physical stats. Screw mental stats. All physical, barbarian. That's...
You sound like you played D&D before.
I feel like it fits the character. She's not a well-balanced character.
I just like it's like, I don't need any of those wimpy mental stats. Like every 8th grader when they first start playing D&D.
Oh my gosh!
Now, my first character I played with any length of time was actually a wizard, so I got very used to, like, I was right into spells, all the spells, all the time.
If you weren't into the game, I'm talking more of the casuals you tried to get to play with you.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, that was a lot of like.
Oh no, wrong. My very first character was a paladin, and they lasted for half a session before everyone else was like, no, make this one. I'm like, all right, cool.
All right, I'm gonna transition back.
Oh, we're transitioning.
So is that our third character that's been a barbarian? So like,
no, we
started with the Hulk, where there is possibility that he is just a barbarian.
Well, I mean, we've gotten a lot of characters that are relentlessly focused and violent. All three of the characters, we got Kylo Ren, Hulk, and Nebula. You kind of end up in a weird thing. All right, Alex, can you roll?
I just rolled. Should John roll?
It's me. I want to do a roll. Trying to take away my turn. D10 or D8?
D8.
D8. We got a 2.
All right.
All different ideas. This is great. We haven't repeated a group yet.
Yeah. 2 is the Ghostbusters. Go ahead and roll a D6. I can put weird groups in just because I wanted to hit from kind of different.
No, I like it. Number 1.
Ray. All right.
Remind me which one Ray is.
Dan Aykroyd in the original movie and the sequel. Hold on, I will pull him up because that's.
Oh yeah. See, now is when I need the visual aid.
All right, hold on. Oh gosh, Ray stance. All right, hold on.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Technical difficulty.
For some reason, it's loading super. I didn't have all the pictures ready because there's a bunch of many. All right, I'm trying to find the best image. Here. There we go. This one is a good one. Come on. Pause. Technical difficulties. All right, here we go.
I have a technical.
I'm going to go ahead and flip over, and I'll kind of show him. I do a different image here, but this is Ray. He was the occultist in the group. So it's basically Dan Aykroyd playing himself. He was the one that knows all about. He's the paranormal investigator of the group. You have Egon. He was the scientist. You have the psychologist / fast talker, and that was Peter Venkman. And then Ray Stantz was the all-around good guy, but the one that knew all about the occult.
Now,
so
real quick, and children, plug your ears for a second. He isn't the one that hung out with the ghosts they hung out like on the bed, right?
Yeah, he is the one.
That's the one. Okay, there we go.
In the weird like.
Yep, we're just gonna go right over that one. All right. So, sorry.
Oh, he's that guy.
He's that guy.
Cool.
Okay.
Fantastic. Now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm looking for.
All right. So you said that he was the investigator. That instantly starts getting me into more of like the Inquisitor or like Inquisitor kind of subclass. So or Inquisitive.
I feel like they have to have magic though. I don't know why, but my first thought is like the Ghostbusters. I feel like need to have magic. But that's just my instinct.
Of course.
They can like, and like the focus being the proton pack-ish thing.
Back to Warlock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can have the arcane focus be like it's basically a wand or a staff. You're just holding it funny.
But
just holding it funny.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you're dealing with what do you want to do as like, is this a person that hunts so the other thing that's interesting in the movie is Ray tends to talk about all sorts of different paranormal phenomenon. He's the one that kind of pulls in like, and if you expand to like the cartoons and such, or even farther into it, because in the cartoons, they fought Cthulhu.
Oh, wow.
They did a lot of weird things, the boogeyman and all sorts of stuff. So other like things other than just plain ghosts, they kind of bring it up. In fact, a lot of the stuff, ghosts are very strange in Ghostbusters. They don't really, only a couple of them look like what you would consider a ghost. There's those demon dog things. There's, a god that turns into a giant marshmallow man. And so on. And like, there's, they're kind of, it's the Slimer thing is kind of a weird version of it. Almost like some kind of like it almost is like an escapee from the abyss or something.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at someone who hunts things like fiends and all that, but not I don't see a paladin at all. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
But hunts like fiends and undead. I mean, you could go with Ranger. That doesn't fit. They're not really combat characters. Like I said, I agree with you. It's an arcane class.
Yeah.
So we got Sorcerer. I think Wizard is what you're going to look for the most.
See, but so, and I don't mean to belabor the Warlock point, but hear me out. So, and the reason I go to the Warlock is because every time someone's like, I want to play Gunslinger, but before Gunslinger was a class that was a thing, my main thought was like, all right, become a Warlock, and have all of your sort of, so like, your sort of pack, what's the things that lets you advance your Eldritch Blast?
Invocation.
There's a bunch of them.
Eldritch Invocations. So the whole thing would be like his Proton Pack is his Eldritch Blast, and then he just finds ways to sort of tinker with it and make it stronger. And then a lot of his other abilities, his other spells, would be things like that's a great one. His other spells and abilities would be like detection types things. So like that would kind of be his investigative sort of thing. You've got detect magic. You've got not detect thoughts maybe necessarily, but even maybe detect thoughts. You could kind of play around with that as well, and really kind of try to hone in on that notion. Now, what his patron would be, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, that's where I think you run into the harder thing with that one. What about Artificer? So Ray in the thing, he's always using different devices. They all work together to create like the PKE meter. He has those night vision goggle type things that do all sorts of different things. You have the proton pack itself and the thing. If we can figure out a patron, I think.
Yeah, you bring up a good point with the patron now. I don't know if the patron is the thing. So I would say, is it the armorer is the one that has?
Yeah, the armorer has like the Iron Man lasers.
The Iron Man lasers. Oh, actually, the other one, I think the artillerist might not be a bad one because one of their abilities is you make a gun. It can run around and do its own thing. You can also wield it. So maybe his proton pack is the gun that he makes as an artificer.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, yeah, because armor, that's just modifies armor, and that's not really,
The battlesmith is doesn't really make sense because why would he have a robot dog hanging out with him?
Yeah. I mean, unless you somehow do more cartoony and make it more
the
like
ape.
Oh, that's from the
real Ghostbusters.
The real Ghostbusters were the real Ghostbusters, but the other Ghostbusters, I forget the.
I thought the real Ghostbusters was the one with you.
No, the real Ghostbusters, because they did the cartoons at the same time. Real Ghostbusters was the ones based on the movie. But I was like, the other thing. Okay, so hear me out. I think I'm leaning more back to Warlock because Pact of the Chain. You got Slimer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But okay, so if we're going Pact of the Chain, then we're going Warlock. What patron would he use? I mean, Undying, or Undead would be the easy one.
Yeah, but I think that's a little bit. I want to go with the great old one, but I think that's all the psychic abilities don't really fit.
Yeah. How about this? Here's another question. So since we're focusing on his sort of proton pack, now I was going to say Hexblade, but like the whole Hexblade thing is curses.
Yeah.
So you have the Soul Trap, right?
Yeah.
Genie.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
He's found a way to be able to go into the Soul Trap as sort of a way to sort of get away from things. The elemental thing maybe doesn't work as well, but at the same time also, it's still fun.
Yeah. I mean, once again, it's the feel of the character. So the things you're going to want to do is, of course, you're going to need Arcana for this character. A lot of intelligence-based skills. That's So his intelligence is going to be fairly high, and in fact, his charisma is going to be minimal high because he is a character that everybody kind of likes. In the world, he's not the fast talker that Venkman is, but he's like maybe he doesn't really have persuasion. He's just a likable dude, and probably a low wisdom score, mainly because the end when he's the only one who can't have his mind go blank.
Yeah. How do we feel about Myriad for the genie? The spells they get are Fog Cloud, Blur, Sleet Storm, Control Water, Cone of Cold, as opposed to other things like Sanctuary, Spike Growth, Melt the Stone, or Thunderwave, Gust of Wind, or Burning Hands and Scorching Ray. If we're going with Scorching Ray, we're going with Genie as the thing, being that he's hiding in his soul trap. I think of the four, the Myriad would probably be my vote.
Yeah, I think one of the other things though is maybe it's not. Maybe the genie is is a freed spirit, a freed thing.
Oh yeah, like a ghost that's gotten kind of attached to him, like Slimer.
Because you could use something like hold monster or hold person as an arcane, as a focus or whatever, just for flavor. So that could be, or even it could be a magic item on its own. Just for fun, with a couple charges or whatever. But yeah, so I think the weird one is and obviously a mercenary character because I mean they're doing it for the money. There's nothing more D&D than that.
Yeah. Also, I feel like for the most part, backgrounds were pretty good on just because like all of these characters we know well enough to not sort of know what their background was.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I think we've talked this guy to near death. So I'm gonna... All right, Alex, why don't you roll this time a D4 because we'll just do a different one than we did before, so we don't get a repeat.
I got a 2.
All right, let me look. I should have the table up. That would have made it a little bit better. All right, so a 2. That puts us at Weird Obscure. Roll a D6.
Ooh, Weird Obscure.
I throw in. Not necessarily weird, but they are ones I kind of want to put on there just to see.
I got a 4.
All right, we got the Joker.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of iterations. You could go with Cesar Romero, or because I do like the makeup over the mustache. Hold on. All right. So
Joaquin Phoenix.
Well, how about
just
this?
did a
Go ahead and snag us. We're gonna probably. You know what we could do? Let's go ahead and just blast out a bunch of them because there's how many of them?
there's so many. Honestly.
How about this? Can you
that's-
find a picture of like the full set? Because I think going
That's what
down
I'm
the
kinda going
line,
for.
going to the line, I think would be a lot of fun because there will be subtle differences in them, which I'm excited for.
There's a couple that are like more brutal than others, and there's some that are just like trickier than others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, but then you also have the comic or the cartoon versions. Let's maybe stick to movies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can even go to the video games and so on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was thinking more like just like the animated series one because I feel like that one is pretty our boy Mark Hamill voicing that one.
Yeah. This image does not have the animated one, but we will.
Yeah, sticking the movies probably is the safer bet anyway.
Come on, what the heck is going on here? All right, I have a weird setup right now. All right, so
Just buffering, you know.
yeah. All right.
The loading screen.
All right, so we got.
Oh.
All right, so we're looking at. We got a few. We're not including the Mark Hamill, from gosh, what is the Arkham Asylum video games? All the Arkham games, and of course the cartoons. You can't miss
I think this is a good spread to do.
Yeah. So let's start. I'd say we start on the right and work our way left.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same.
I think we should save the Suicide Squad one for last.
So I feel like this first Joker, the thing that calls to me, for some reason, immediately I'm just like, it has to be a bard, right?
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. The only other thing is like this is the goofiest one. So the idea of somebody, because he's a lot more using of the wacky devices.
Oh, that does make sense.
So this is a possible artificer, although he's not really clever. He just uses stuff. So I think, you obviously go with Rogue, because that's
Yeah, but I don't feel like this particular one is as roguish as some of the other ones. I feel like this one is more sort of gimmicks and sort of madness, which is why I would lean towards Bard and one of the especially one of the archetypes of Bard that can kind of like can just do weird wackadoo stuff.
College of Creation maybe. That's a weird one. Whatever it is. The other one that actually fits a lot is the College of Glamour, because that's the one that are trying to get everybody looking at them. It's the big show.
Yeah.
It's loud. It's laughing as hard as possible, and and I'm sure and they need some kind of ability to do wham pow. This is that man. So I don't know. I think you're right. Bard is definitely the way to go.
And College of Glamour feels good. The only other one I would maybe say would be College of Lore, just so you can get cutting words. Mostly because that seems like such a kind of like don't miss now, and then he misses for whatever reason.
This Joker isn't particularly the smartest guy on the block. He's kind of he's not dumb, but it's not the one who knows everything. Where Lore is like.
Oh yeah, I guess that one is a bit more knowledge. So yeah, that makes sense.
So the other thing I would think would be kind of funny if you're looking at a D&D vein is this particular Joker he was most famous for is that mustache. So it's like I'm trying to look like something, but I'm not going to commit fully. So what if instead of making him
he has a mustache under there?
Oh yeah, Cesar Romero. He actually refused to shave his mustache, so they just painted over it.
Oh my goodness.
So what about say a human or half elf that poorly pretends to be another race? Maybe you could go really. What about a drow that wears whiteface?
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Actually, the other one, so have you guys heard of, I think he was called the Orcanist? I had a buddy who had this orc who was a wizard, or more specifically an Orcanist. So when he would do things like cast Counterspell, he would just kick the caster in the testicles as they were trying to cast a spell. His version of Fireball was to take a goblin strapped with TNT and just huck it at things. I think his, what was it? I think Blind was just a blanket over the head. And I think he was just like a barbarian or something like that. So like it'd be really funny to have this guy, this particular one, like pretend to be a caster, but just absolutely not be.
He's not a
So
caster.
one of the other things actually that's common for the Joker and all of them, but especially this one, thugs. The ability to entrance these random, like, why are they working for the Joker? He's got magic that lets him like make them do what he wants.
Yeah, we're right back to the bard, especially College of Glamour.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just think
a bunch of thugs and then doing the whole strike oppose thing. I'll be honest, College of Glamour is one of my favorites just because if I was ever gonna make David Bowie, especially like Jareth from Labyrinth, like he would be College of Glamour. It would be great. I would.
Yeah, and, you know, and he has that magic item, the really tight pants.
Hop over to our good buddy.
All right, Heath Ledger. Now,
Heath Ledger.
this one is the most straightforward. I would think Rogue Mastermind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he is plans within plans within plans.
He's brutal. He's also just vicious.
Yeah. And the sneak attack, you know, that pen.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, the reason I'm laughing, and it's great that we're laughing at the Joker, but there's there's a meme where like he does the thing, and someone's like, "Hey, you didn't make the pen disappear; it's just in his head." I don't know, that makes me giggle, but it does.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, other than that, I don't think, unless you're playing an evil campaign, this version of the Joker really doesn't work as a player character.
Ooh.
I think you could do it as like this is a weapon we have that we let him off the leash to our enemies, and then we pack him back into a box to make sure he doesn't kill the rest of the town.
I almost think the Heath Ledger Joker is just that next level where, as a player character, you can use that as an NPC. Yeah, you got to make a deal with this guy. He's the only one that can, help.
He's the only one that gets the job done.
But I think you'd have to sanitize him too much to like not to be in a typical D&D group. Because he's not really a team player. It's all about unless you submit to me type of thing.
Which is why I'm not necessarily like. Are we sure that we are married to the idea of the mastermind?
Well, what other ideas?
I'm never 100% on
only,
that.
Only because also I always forget that rogues don't get a lot of their. They only get the 2 hits of their archetype, which is fascinating. They don't have a level 6 like most other classes do. What do rogues get at level 6?
Level 6 is it's a really nice one. I forget what it is off the top of my head.
Expertise again.
Reaction to half damage.
Oh, uncanny dodge.
Level 7.
Oh, you know what it is? It's because it's packed in. So you have uncanny dodge, expertise, and then evasion are all 5, 6, and 7.
Oh my gosh.
That would make sense. We can't. Nothing else. And it's so very quintessential to the thing. Soul Knife do. So the only reason the kind of the main thing the Mastermind gets is they can use their bonus action to perform the help action, and I just have a hard time seeing Heath Ledger's Joker helping.
No, so I can rationalize that. The beginning robbery scene, that's to commit the plan. So in that, if you use the help action, because you can use it at a distance, it's I plan this, you push that button, I'll aid you, you take a shot at
okay.
Thing. Like the plans within
so
plans.
He's really good at using people as tools. Okay.
Yeah.
I dig it. And then actually the Master of Intrigue also is pretty good. The mimicry. That's the thing that's kind of weird that I think is often forgotten. Like he, on multiple occasions, very masterfully executes use of disguises. Like I mean, the nurse one was grotesque, but whatever. And then like you mentioned, the whole thing in the beginning. Like he's good at sneaking about. So all right, you've sold me on Mastermind.
Yes. All right, now we're looking at the Joaquin Phoenix, the most recent Joker.
I haven't seen this one, so I don't know if I'll be able to help much with this.
So yeah, it's
I saw it pretty recently.
Yeah, Takedown Society. It's about a kind of
It's a guy who goes kind of mad. He is a comedian but he just goes kind of crazy. And I mean, he did a really good job by taking down people.
Do we want to return to our favorite barbarian?
Honestly, like if there's a class that would just want to see cities burn, I would imagine it would be the barbarian.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I can. All right, I'm just trying to. I'm just kind of running through the options in my head. So like trying to pull a different class because since we have all these different Jokers, I mean we've done a few barbarian. I haven't done a barbarian yet for Joker. I'm not feeling the barbarian per se.
What about because his whole would paladin fit for him? But like paladin of like conquest or one of the other more sort of like chaotic paladin archetypes.
Yeah, if there's a chaotic, I guess like what does the Oathbreaker do? I mean, I have to double check on what is the Oathbreaker. If there's
it's one bad day, right? That's the standard Joker. That's why he becomes what he is. What about something completely off the rails, like a sorcerer? Like what about an aberrant mind?
I could see sorcerer because he's able to. He would have like a high, yeah. He'd have a high charisma.
Kind of like he's in your head, literally.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is this one particularly manipulative? Isn't the end that he like causes he causes like a riot?
Oh, did I freeze?
No, you're good.
No, you didn't freeze on our end.
Oh, I'm not good. Or am I good?
You're good.
All right. I mean, he's not super manipulative, but he's also just. It's kind of wacky.
Yeah, I like the idea. I can see the paladin because the oath idea is kind of there.
There's no like.
What'd you say?
Oh, this one is just more like he is really just going down in a spiral, descent into madness.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of a class that would fit.
Actually, you know what? I think you may have sold me on the aberrant mind. The three spells I saw in there were Arms of Hadar, Dissonant Whispers, and Mind Sliver.
Yeah. They're all, I mean, it's a pretty awesome little subclass. Yeah, I know the other ones aren't singing to me. I can't think of, because he's definitely not a fighter. It doesn't seem like in any way, any of the iterations of the Joker would be a fighter.
Well, but at the same time, like his whole shtick is that he just blasts people in the noodle, isn't it?
Well,
like he's one of the only Jokers to really like embrace, well, with the Jared Leto exception.
Yeah.
Like just embrace the use of a gun. No, wait. Now that I'm remembering our next good one, he blasts people as well. I guess just the first two don't use guns as much.
I haven't seen the whole movie. I have to confess. I've only seen.
I haven't either. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and say that unfortunately we're not as aware of this one, and we'll go ahead and say he is an aberrant mind sorcerer. And we'll move on.
All right, so we're looking at Jack Nicholson from Batman '89.
I gotta be honest. First thoughts on this one. I feel like he needs to be martial class. More than the other Jokers, I feel like this is one that can sort of hold his own in a fight. I don't know why, but that's just my first sort of.
In the end, he just can really take a punch, so that's something to factor in. He gets beat though. Well,
and just like he's a kind of like yeah, I don't know, like. This one in particular, also, they focus a lot more on the fact that, like, he got dipped in, like, a whole vat of acid and then, like, came back from that. Like, they really sort of focused on his whole, like, indestructibility. I wonder, how do we feel about... I don't know if necessarily Warlock. My first thought was Warlock of the Undying. Maybe not.
Because they don't die?
Also, for some reason, I'm feeling like Ranger. As much as Rangers and I are not... but like it has
the edition's friend.
I feel like it has a nice sort of combination of martial prowess and magic. And I feel like he's one of those ones where he has some tricks in his book, like he's got his whole I mean he also does the whole poison the world thing.
Yeah, what about alchemist? Artificer.
Yeah. Because now that I think about it, like his whole shtick was the whole poison.
Yeah, he poisoned the water supply, and on top of that, like he was gonna gas the whole crowd at the very end.
Oh yeah, so it was him that was the balloons.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't remembering if that was yeah, no, okay, yeah. So yeah, I honestly, yes, I'm agreeing with you. I think Artificer plus Artificer has that sort of more sturdy build. You can have a little bit like heavier armor, more constitution, and then also like an absolute mastery of alchemy. I think really is needed for this one in particular. Yeah, the more I think of it, this guy was really good at he was a really good
Yeah, the
chemist.
acid flower.
Acid flower. He's
Yeah.
the yeah. Wow.
He passed alchemy.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And now we go to.
He's a ranger, clearly. Like,
all right. So we got a very thuggish Joker.
Yep.
He's pretty much just violent. And mad for mad's sake type of thing. I'm trying to think of, the biggest thing, of course, he appears in Suicide Squad. So his biggest thing is the tie to Harley Quinn as well. So I was like trying to think of I'm trying to think of the things that, we can latch onto. I mean, obviously the biggest one is he's damaged. We know that. He's got the tattoo on his forehead. And he does have the grill.
Again, I feel like in so many ways, like this particular Joker is almost kind of like the Ranger of the Jokers.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, I want you to do so much more, and you're so close, but you're just
You're just not there yet. Maybe one more source book.
Yeah.
One more.
How about this? Since we're unfortunately just about out of time, we're gonna throw it to you guys. Go ahead and throw out a class for the Jared Leto Joker. Yeah.
I was like, we go back to Warlock. I don't know. Honestly, to me, the other characters in that Suicide Squad movie would be better D&D characters than that Jared Leto Joker.
Yeah.
Even the main villain, while she's not that interesting in the movie, the concept of her could be very interesting in D&D, the Enchantress. Yeah. So anyway, on that kind of wet fizzle.
Hey, I think we did a great job so far with our other classes. If there are any characters that you guys would like to see us play around with, go ahead and leave those in the comments on YouTube? I don't know YouTube on Facebook.
Comments on YouTube. Oh my gosh, there's comments on YouTube. There's
I meant on Facebook. I don't know Facebook comments. Oh, it is comments. All right, there we go. I know how the internet works. If you are interested in participating in some wacky D&D hosted by the three of us and our strange ideas of what D&D characters should be, you can send us an email at zulusdnd@gmail.com. I'm starting a game that's that's not Young Adventure, so geared towards people who are older. I don't know. For some reason, adult just sounds weird. Anyway,
yeah, it sounds like you're saying a different thing. I think we need to have a term for that. It's just
non. Yeah, we're just regular D&D on Thursdays from 7 to 9. So if that is a time period that works for you, go ahead and swing us an email. Do you guys have anything you would like to announce, mention, say?
I mean, I also have on
Fridays
an adult group on Fridays that we can use more people. We always can. And we will also if you're interested in other days, we can figure that out too. Our one shots, we do those.
Yeah, just talk to us about one shots and when to schedule. We'll be able to. We've got a lot of flexibility that we can do.
We do have Young Adventures, and we need to bring up summer camp.
We have summer camp.
Summer camp signups are live. You can go to zulusgames.com. Go to D&D sessions, online D&D online sessions, online D&D
It's going to be the Zulu's D&D program, and it's literally going to be the very first option that you've got. We already made another post earlier this week about it. You can sign up for either all 5 days in either the 1:30 or the 1 to 3 o'clock classes, or the 4 to 6 classes, or if you're going crazy, you can sign up for all of the classes. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. We're going to do a bunch of cool tips, tricks, how to run D&D, how to play D&D, how to make characters interesting. We might even do a little bit of what we did today.
Yeah, and also, playing D&D will also be included.
What? Education.
we will roll some dice. So
Yeah, I like rolling.
All right. Well, and on that note, you two have a lovely night. Everyone listening, you also have yourself a lovely time. Stay safe out there, and we will see you next week.
yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.